What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Fantasy Football Game Show, and it is a fun Friday with just the Front Yard fam today. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my co-hosts Joey Wright and John Lou Garofalo, and our fun Friday Front Yard fam guest host, Tim Wright. What's up, Tim?
Feeling great, man. Going to the Braves game tonight. Go Braves.
Let's go.
Go Braves. All right, buddy.
Man. Playing the Astros. Should be a fun game.
All right. Beat those assholes.
Astros. Oh, yeah.
Everybody's favorite MLB team, the Houston Astros.
Houston Astros.
I think I saw a map not too long ago on Reddit. It was like each state's least favorite team. And it was like New York had the Red Sox, Massachusetts had New York, and then every other state was the Houston Astros. It was like 48 states hate the Astros, and then there's the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Like, it was going to take something like the Astros to unite baseball fans after the 94 strike. Like, I think that's what it needed. Like, baseball needed the Astros. Thank you, Houston.
Houston, you've done the country a service.
Yeah.
Man, I told the story on the morning show, but I had the weirdest interaction with a Houston Texans fan. You guys, whenever I told you guys about that, I just think there's something odd going on with Houston sports.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I was at the gas station. Yeah, I was at the gas station, and the guy came up and asked for us to jump his car. And then while we're jumping his car, he asked for a place to stay and said he came from outer space to save all of us, and he needed our help.
Huh.
And this was just like, we were talking about the Texans no more than 5 minutes before that. And then all of a sudden he was sent from space to save us, and he needed my help, specifically in the form of a room.
And he landed in Houston.
He landed in Houston at that gas station, it turns out.
Texan keeps drafting all these thirst traps, is bringing in all the crazies.
Well, guys, we got some people in the chat ready for today's show. Craig in the chat said, as a professional comedian, my friends won't let me babysit their kids, and I don't understand why. I've always done a stand-up job.
Oh. It's also, for other reasons.
We got Maria in here. What's up, Maria?
So
try Jay. I bet he'll let you watch his kids. We got Dustin in the chat saying, I already know I'm going to be upset with this draft. And I also already know you're going to be upset with this draft.
Yeah.
We got Craig in here. So there's no way Simon would leave out anyone's favorite comedian, right? Maybe. But I got 3 other people here also drafting to hopefully fix any problems that I leave up here on the board. We got Victor in the chat with the happy Friday, bro. Chachos. What's up, Victor?
Let's go.
And Victor's saying,
Friday,
Simon, I hope you pet your dog. I posted the most pathetic looking picture of my dog on Twitter. They just pouting behind my laptop screen. And shortly after that, the laptop was fully removed from my lap, and I did pet that dog. I pet that dog a lot. Maria in here saying nothing is ever out of the question with FYF.
Facts.
That is true. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but
I think that was on our daily FYF calendar. Like our quote of the day, the daily one we keep by our beds, all of us. No?
That's it, yeah. Yeah, all of us.
That was our quote.
Would you rather by my bed? Maria in here said, the speed in which Jail just peed enjoyed the stream was incredible. So Jail, multi-talented.
So I tracked mine last night, and it was like 57 seconds. So I don't know what Scott Fish is talking about. 23 seconds.
23 seconds. Like
I think it depends
on average.
Nonsense.
It depends how you define a second as well.
Yeah.
We got Dave in here. What's up, Dave? Welcome in, my friend. And Dave said 48 states and Canada hate the Astros. So it's 48 states and the entirety of Canada. Wow. And then also saying, so Tim had car troubles and is an Astros fan? No, Tim has never had car troubles. He drives a Jetta.
He's saying Tim is the crazy guy from outer space that you talk to.
Oh, that would be a twist.
There was a guy who worked at the Clemson dining hall who Tim and I's roommate had a
What's your
NASA
name,
shirt.
Mr. Space Rocket Man?
Yes, and every time our roommate would wear the NASA shirt, he would walk in and he would call him Space Rocket Man and would just scream like Space Rocket Man at him the whole time.
Just pushing ice
Space
around,
Rocket Man.
pushing barrels of ice to where? I don't know.
Who eats that much ice?
But he was the ice guy, and he liked to yell Space Rocket Man, and I hope he's doing well.
Me too.
We got Herms here. What's up, Herms? Welcome in, my friends. Let's
Herms.
go. And
What up,
that's also
Herms?
John Mulaney 101, or we riot. We'll have to see. Herms
I
is
am
alluding
so
to.
stressed. I have so much tensity. That's not the right word. The tensity inside of me right now, knowing this draft is coming up.
Tenacious D, yeah.
I got tenacious D inside of me.
Would Tenacious D count for this draft? They're kind of stand-up comedians, right? They stand on a stage and they do comedy.
Yeah.
Sure. If you want to draft Tenacious D, you can draft Tenacious D. In this.
I mean, I'm not going to.
Damn.
Just wondering. That opens up a,
That would make
That's when I was making my list. That was the problem I was having. It was like, do I love this person for their stand-up, or do I love this person? You know what I mean? And does that matter? Do I just draft my favorite people who have done stand-up, or do I draft my favorite stand-up comedians?
If you
do I
take
try to
what I'm
make a, like-
thinking-
Oh, I'm so there's just so many options here. And as many people in the chat have alluded to, and we're talking about right now, we are going to be doing a stand-up comedian draft later in today's show. Before we get into that, though, we got some NFL news to talk about. There's been a little bit going on, and we have the NFL draft coming up in less than a week. So we got to make sure we're all caught up on everything going down as we approach that moment. The first thing I wanted to hit on, the big news coming out today, is that there were 5 NFL players that have been suspended, including Lions wide receiver Jameson Williams, for violations of the NFL gambling policy. Jameson Williams is going to get 6 games. Stanley Berryhill was another player getting hit with 6 games. And then CJ Moore and Quintez Cephas are getting indefinite suspensions. So the reason theirs are indefinite is they were betting on NFL games, whereas Jameson Williams was betting on non-NFL games, but it sounds like in the Lions facility, which is why he's getting in trouble here. But interesting. We're seeing these punishments come down. Calvin Ridley's off suspension, but now here's 5 more players getting suspensions handed down of varying degrees.
Mm-hmm.
It is wild. I did not expect that news today. The Jameson Williams one definitely is going to throw some water on that fire for all people hyped for him going into this season.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I recently I contributed to a roundtable where I put Jameson Williams as my wide receiver breakout this season. And honestly, I was talking before the show with Simon and them. I don't know if I'm going to back off from that. He's going to miss 6 games, they're saying. And that leaves 12 more games wait, did I do my math right there? No, 11 more games. Actually, yeah, 12 more games because the Lions will get knocked down in the wild card, but that doesn't count for fantasy. But that does leave 11 more games that he can actually produce on the field. So I could see him slipping down draft boards tremendously this season to where he becomes a value. So I'm not exactly off of him breaking out, like a second half of the season breakout.
God, I hear you there. Just the number of times I've drafted the guy who's going to come back in 6 weeks, the guy who's going to be there after 7 weeks. And on week 3, I'm like, I need a flex player.
Yeah.
There's 3 players injured. There's 2 players on bye, and I don't know what to do. And I have to drop the guy that I drafted that I was waiting on, or I have to drop a different piece that I wouldn't normally drop because of like the sunk cost into a player like that. But I don't know. Jameson Williams looks special. So maybe he's the kind of guy that you take that dip on.
You know what you could do to fix that, Simon?
Never play fantasy again.
Draft better.
True.
Yeah, if you did that, it would help a lot.
Yeah, I
Think
need
of
to
that.
do better about not drafting the guys that get injured.
That's one of my number 1 tips for fantasy football. Draft better and then cheat.
Cheat it as much as you can. In any way you can.
You'll probably win, dude.
This coming from the commissioner of one of my main dynasty leagues. Also, Dave in the chat saying, one time I got banned from the FYF chat, probably for betting on Simon. That is true.
It's true. Yeah,
But-
we did have to ban Dave.
Dave kind of bringing up a good point here. Dave betting in the FYF chat on the outcome of this game that has nothing to do with his performance. It seems kind of odd that he should get banned. And I feel similarly about Jameson Williams. Like, it seems odd that as these leagues and the NFL are kind of embracing betting, that a player betting on non-NFL games, a different sport entirely, is being punished by the league that's profiting off of the same industry. I understand it's probably just in the rules. Like, this is what the rule is. This is the punishment, but it needs to be revisited because there's like a serious disconnect between like what the league is sending messaging wise and then what they're doing to the players who do something similar.
It's
very
a
least be
it's a
sneaky.
matter of the game integrity part of it. I think is why they're going to be so rigid about this for a long time, because betting is not a accepted thing in this country. There are many states that don't allow betting, and so while that's happening, the league is going to be extra rigid about this, because any sort of hint or whiff of impropriety, and they lose out on a ton of money.
Then stop putting sports books in the stadiums. Like,
Yeah, right.
I agree with you, JL, but like,
It's a conflict of interest.
It is,
Why
yeah.
why does the athlete need to bet on that sport or
So that's
other
what I'm
sports,
saying
like-
is I think like
Yeah.
my mind, the line is pretty easy to draw. And like, if it doesn't have a direct connection, it
Absolutely.
doesn't. Like, where's that? Like him betting on a baseball game should be 100% fine, whether he's taking a poop at the team facility or at his house on the couch at home.
I think
I
what
understand
we get
the
is like
integrity of the game, but
the government aspect of the conflict of interest, right? Because we see this type of model in various, not just this industry, but a bunch of different industries. And I think what you can end up getting is this whole debate of like, should politicians be able to invest or like buy stock, right? Because they can influence it,
They are insider traders, all of them.
right? And that's kind of the same premise here. Is like,
Yeah, but it's
maybe
football.
there should be.
This is a game, though.
It's money,
That's
man.
different.
Money's money.
Money's money, but I think it'd be
It's
hilarious.
not a
Just
game
make
to the-
everything okay. Just make everything okay.
I'm
Like,
with you.
I'm
I'm with
like,
you. On like a human level, I'm with you. It's just sports books, it's money. People like money.
no, I don't disagree with you. I agree with that being their reasoning, and I still think it is.
I agree too.
Like, of course, that's why they're doing it. I just think it's messed up. I think it shouldn't be that way. That the priority should be somewhere else whenever they're looking at things like this.
Mhm.
I was trying to think of like an analogy, like another like area to put this type of situation in. I was just imagining like if you're mean to somebody, then your mom breaks their leg. Like that's kind of like the equivalent here. Is like, yeah, like they're
It's like a premise of a scary movie.
It does sound like the premise of a scary movie. Where it's like it seems like not a big deal to us, and from their angle, I see the money side of it being like just way outsized. It's not even being worth for them to be nice.
They have infinite money anyway. Come on, like
I'm with you, man. Yeah,
what are we talking
The crossing
about?
sports, like I'm not stupid. I understand it. And when you have owners that own multiple franchises, there can be connections and correlations, but yeah, like Simon said, revisit it.
Yeah.
I completely agree with
It's
what
like the
Jay's
least
saying. It's
fun-
so
It's
frustrating.
the least fun take to have. I know.
Yeah.
Like we just want to have fun, place bets and stuff.
Yeah. And that's why I'm not a professional athlete, because they won't let me bet. So
Because
that's
I
the only
got to
reason.
gamble.
Yeah.
Gambling's in my blood, but sports are only kind of okay.
Yeah, that's a deal breaker for me.
It's the fact that they won't let me take performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Or
really
the
struggle without
non-enhancing
this.
Yeah.
Also, I see Grim fan in here saying, Simon, how was your XFL experience? And I have terrible news. It was non-existent. It was a
I was
non-existent
wondering why you
XFL
hadn't brought that up.
experience. Yeah, it's because I did not go. Grim fan said, are we talking about Jameson Williams and the other 4 banned players? Indeed, we are. Something I did want to bring up here is the 2 players with the indefinite suspensions. It was Quintez Cephas and CJ Moore. They have now both been released by the Lions, if I'm not mistaken, after this as well. So they had the indefinite suspensions for betting on NFL games while in a team facility, and they've now been released. So if the NFL wants the optics of being tough on this, here it is. Here's your next example, and hopefully it looks like that's what they're trying to say is we're going to be tough on this.
Yeah. I had to
Oh,
sing
my God.
Cephas in my wide receiver rankings from wide receiver 107 to wide receiver 112. So it's pretty tough for me.
I can
too.
finally stop holding that Quintez Cephas thing against you, Simon.
This is a great question, Victor.
Drop him.
I will defend that to the day I die. Victor in here had a question for us though. Following this, said Amon-Ra St. Brown going where in redraft now? What do you guys think about Amon-Ra St. Brown with knowing for sure there's at least 6 weeks without Jameson Williams and obviously no TJ Hawkinson there anymore either?
He had to be already a round 3 talent, right? I'll pull up his ADP, but I can't imagine he was going farther than the 4th or 3rd round.
I don't think JL mind me saying this. When the news broke about Jameson Williams, I was on a call with JL, and that was the first thing JL brought up to me is he was like, Amon-Ra St. Brown. That was the first name you mentioned.
Specifically, it said, man, I hope Amon-Ra St. Brown is amazing so that Coop has to suck it.
But I mean, he is probably the player that's most affected by this, other than Jared Goff. You would think. Oh, I just got all fuzzy.
Yeah, it's because you said bad of Jared Goff.
Yeah, how dare you?
I have nothing bad to say about Jared Goff or his fiance. So let's let me try to fix my camera.
Who are we talking about again?
I only have bad things to say about his fiance.
Amon-Ra.
Kristen Harper? Really?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Dame in the chat says Amon-Ra St. Brown 101. I'm not quite that excited, but it removes some of the risk for me. You know what I mean? You get a guaranteed wide receiver 1 target leader on that team through at least 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I mean, he was fantastic regardless. I think a lot of the concerns for Amon-Ra St. Brown is just in around, well, there hasn't been much competition there. So how do we know what's volume and just opportunity versus what's talent, like him creating opportunities? This to me doesn't change anything for Amon-Ra St. Brown. He was going to be just as successful as before. What this does change for me is just the confidence that he's going to be better.
Do you think Amon-Ra was the one that ratted all of them out?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Jameson confided in him. He's like, yeah, me and Quintez and the other guys are
some
all
curling, dude.
Pets. You want in? He's like, no, I'm good.
I know DJ Shark moved on from this offense, correct? From the Lions. Where did DJ Shark go again? Did he go to the Panthers? Why am I thinking Panthers?
My brain is so broken right
Maybe.
now. I can't.
Josh Reynolds, I believe, is still with the team, and so is Khalif Raymond.
Yeah,
but these are like two players. Grab them early, and they can help you in those first 6 weeks before Jameson Williams comes back, because they were both really good last year when Amon-Ra St. Brown was on the field with them with Jared Goff. And this Lions offense is really good.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess who else do they have now? I mean, was Hawk the person that was helping Amon-Ra get open, or
no? Amon-Ra did decently without Hawk there. I don't think it was.
That's why they were okay with Hawk leaving.
Yeah. I don't know.
We got Craig in here saying, Joey, knowing everyone's wife, girlfriend, or fiance is both troubling and impressive.
No. So there was when Jared Goff won his first game as a Lion, they put out a video of his fiance celebrating. And Troy King, whoops, I shouldn't probably say that. But Troy King sent it to me. And was like, oh, I love seeing athletes' wives support them. That's wonderful to see.
100%. Dustin in here reminding us that Marvin
Jones. Oh,
Jones
that's right. There we go. Thank you, Dustin. Thank you.
So there's another
this now, and piss you off later.
And someone that was fantasy relevant last year. Yeah. Marvin Jones shows he still got some love to give to fantasy managers out there. Well, guys, I think it's time that we go ahead and get into our stand-up comedians draft. Before we get into that, though, I did want to remind everybody about something we got coming up here on BSN tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern time. You can join Eric Balkman from the FFPC and Garrett Price from Dynasty Nerds, because they're doing an NFL draft preview from the fantasy football perspective. So they've got 3 rounds of an NFL mock for you, position by position breakdowns, and a fantasy football rookie draft. So make sure you guys are joining the experts over there from FFPC and Dynasty Nerds tonight. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern time at bettersports.com or here on the Better Sports Network app. But if you want to talk about comedians, if you want to hear who the best stand-up comedians are, that's right now, baby. What I'm going to do at the beginning here before we started is I'm going to share my screen to determine the draft order. I've got a wheel with our names on it. We're just going to spin it. Yeah. And this isn't perfect because it's not going to take it off. And maybe we get the same name a couple times, but this is how we're doing it. This is for the first overall pick. Oh.
The
first overall pick.
Keep going. No!
Pressure. I feel like it's not what I wanted, but I will take it. Oh, and look, you can remove it. So I'm going first. We'll see who's picking second. Oh. And it's Tim.
Right,
Tim, he got the second pick.
Oh, I feel a lot better about the second pick than the first. Good Lord.
Are we doing Snake?
No whammy. No.
Joey, it looks like you are going to have the third pick.
The worst thing of my life
is going to be on the turn.
It's a little right
so
sandwich.
Our order is going to be Simon, Tim, Joey, JL.
Exactly Simon, how it is on the screen when they were in a line.
Tim, Joey, JL. Whew. Oh God, I'm so nervous.
Simon, do you want to trade your number 1 pick for the number 3 pick?
No.
Okay.
I'm gonna take what I was given and I'm gonna roll with it.
All right.
And I have the first overall pick here. This is a lot of pressure. So many comedians out there. There's the classics. There's the old school. There's the greatest of all times. But there's also, I'm going with my heart. I'm taking the stand-up special that I've watched the most times, the one that has affected my mental health both positively and negatively, depending on the frequency with which I watch him perform. I'm taking Bo Burnham with the first overall.
Okay.
I'm taking Bo Burnham. I understand he's not the greatest of all time. I get it. But if I want Bo Burnham on my team, I have to take him here because I don't think he's getting past JL. And Bo Burnham is the comedian that I have watched the most over the last 3 years.
It was Simon. It was then, what was the next order? It was Tim.
Tim.
And then Joey.
And then Joey. And then JL.
Okay. The draft board here.
Also, Jake said, there's no pressure, Simon. Scamper said, don't mess this up, Simon. And Herm said, look, as long as you don't take Dane Cook first, then no one can be mad.
Yeah, unless
can I take him second?
You can absolutely take him second.
Also, Dustin said, Simon, you are dead to me. That's the worst choice ever. Worse than Ryan Leaf and Jamarcus Russell alive.
Wow.
Dustin, you're going to be in for a rough ride for the next
I think you really are underappreciating Bo Burnham's comedy then.
I wouldn't have taken Bo Burnham first, but I understand why Simon did because he's 20. Yeah.
But wow. He wishes.
I'm 21, Joey.
Yeah.
I can buy my own beer,
buddy.
Yeah.
And a 10th.
I'll let you know I had a screwdriver with dinner last night because I'm a big boy.
I think Tim's up.
All right. Up? So I think with my pick, I don't know if he's necessarily the best of all time, but I'm picking him because I love him to death, and he's just a wildly talented ray of sunshine. I'm going Robin Williams, baby.
God damn it.
Love his stand-up, but man, he is every single thing that he's in. He's just stand-up legend. Even if it's not on the stage, he's killing it for everybody. Off the cuff, he's a absolute icon, and I would not let him slip.
Good pick. It's a good pick.
That was my number 1 that I was going to take.
I'm realizing
amazing pick.
The worst part about this is there are going to be 6 times I get angry before my next pick. Like every pick here is probably going to piss me off. Tim, that's a phenomenal pick. Now the chat's on your side. You got him on you.
I don't know. It's kind of backhanded though. It's like,
Dave
wow,
said, fantastic.
You finally did
it. And Dustin said, Tim is finally on the right side of things.
Finally.
Do you want to say any more about Robin Williams, Tim?
No, you can take it. Yeah, if you want to just be jealous of my pick.
So one of the greatest little clips you can watch is after Robin Williams passed away, all the different late night comedians talking about him. I encourage everyone to go watch David Letterman talk about Robin Williams and their relationship. And just because I feel like David Letterman really nailed it of how unique and how much of like a comet Robin Williams is. He's just an incredible stand-up comedian. Like, well done on the first pick, Tim.
Mm-hmm. They actually changed up sitcoms because of him. And Mork and Mindy, they had to have a camera on him at all times because he's just doing crazy stuff. And it was all gold. They're like, oh, wow, we have to literally change up how this has been done for 30 years because this guy's just that amazing.
Man, I guess Tim is kind of like our Robin Williams.
Yeah. Never know what's going to happen.
Jake and you're saying if someone doesn't take Gallagher in the next 6 picks, I'm smashing a watermelon on the front steps of FYF headquarters.
Jake, I need you to get back to me on this. Do you believe in the conspiracy theory that there are 2 Gallaghers? That the real Gallagher retired and his brother took over? Get back to me on that, Jake.
Is this just is the Avril Lavigne conspiracy theory just a retread of the Gallagher conspiracy theory?
I think so. But I heard the Gallagher one before I ever heard the Avril Lavigne one.
That's what I'm saying. They just ripped it off.
Tim's just wrecked me.
So you're on the clock now.
Joey had one name on the list.
I'm actually going to take the stand-up comedian that means the most to me. This is the person, like, since a kid, I've strived to be in my group of friends. I think that friend that can just, would you say Dane Cook? Yeah, I want to be Dane Cook. I want to shit on everyone's coats. No. I'm picking Mr. Warmth. I'm picking Don Rickles. In my mind, there has never been a better comedian than Don Rickles. He could sit there and just put down the most beloved person in the room, and they would kiss him on the mouth for it. Like,
I mean, with a name like that, Don Rickles.
Yeah. So he's an old man, but I guess he's passed away now. But yeah, Don Rickles for me, kind of the original insult comic, but with a heart of gold. And yeah, it's Don Rickles.
Joey going more classic comedian here. Yeah. I'm not super. I know who he is. I've seen some of it, but not nearly enough to have like a strong opinion.
The voice of Mr. Potato Head.
He was the voice of Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah.
Is that really? It's him?
That's Don Rickles. Yeah.
Also,
Wow.
Adam, our producer, coming in with a fun fact saying Rickles was one of the only guys that can make jokes at Sinatra's expense without pissing Sinatra off.
Really?
Can I tell a very quick Rickles story about Sinatra?
Crickles.
Go for it.
So when Don Rickles was dating his wife,
Sorry,
he was in a restaurant in Vegas and saw Frank Sinatra, and he kind of went off to the bathroom and he went over to Frank Sinatra and he said, "Hey, Frank, listen, I'm trying to make out with this girl over here. If you just come over and say hi, it would just mean the world to me, please, Frank." And Frank's like, "Don, I love you. You're my brother. I'll definitely do that for you." So Rickles gets back to his table. Sinatra's waiting, finishes his meal, is leaving, walks up to Don Rickles and his not then wife. And he's like, "Hey, Don." And Don Rickles says, "Hey, Frank, can't you see that I'm eating here?" And like, oh God, just the best.
That's what I'm talking about. That's cool.
Yeah. He's just,
that's awesome.
He's the best.
Scamper saying such a good story, and Dustin saying the right boys have been right on with these picks. And here comes JL with more nonsense.
Here I come.
Here he comes, JL.
Ready?
Jim Gaffigan, let's go. Hot Pockets.
Louis C.K. Here we go.
I do love Jim Gaffigan though.
Oh man, this is causing me so much heartburn because I know that I'm gonna get ripped no matter what.
Oh, people are gonna be so mad at me later in this draft. I've got
so bad. All right, I gotta go with my favorite comedian of all time, and his name is Trevor Noah. Been in the news lately, did the White House Correspondents' Dinner, but few comedians. There's not a single comedian I like more than Trevor Noah. He is one of my favorite people in the world.
JL, I have him marked on my list. If JL lets him slip to second round,
to steal,
him.
Yeah,
like I have it in there. If JL thinks he can let Trevor Noah go a couple rounds because he don't like him as much as he does, I will punish you. So
I had the thought.
You avoided that.
Thank God. I'm glad. It feels better knowing that I absolutely did avoid it, knowing that you were going to do it.
Long range snipe
from across the board. Doesn't say what Trevor Noah. He only likes American comedians, I guess.
Oh, he only likes shirtless comedians.
Your whole identity is not wearing a shirt. Hilarious. Next guy. I went Trevor Noah, and now I'm going to go with. I don't know that there is a comedian who thinks the way that this guy does. The way his brain works is unreal. No. Every time I watch any clip of him, I am dying laughing.
He's going to say it.
No.
It's Demetri Martin.
Oh,
okay.
It's Demetri.
It wasn't the one I was thinking of, but I really thought I'd be able to get him later in the draft. He is starred on my list as one of my he's one of my favorite modern comedians. I'm very upset with you, JL. That's a great pick. Great sleeper pick.
The stuff he does with just a piece of paper and like a little drawing is just unbelievable. It's like, this is a hand reaching for help at sunset and you drown it. Oh no.
Yo, I just watched that exact special, Tim. That exact clip that I saw the hand where he turns it and the hand's reaching. That's wild. I know Dustin probably wanted me to go to like Jeff Dunham or something, but I had to go with
God, not even on my list. If anybody says Foxworthy, I quit the company. Just so
I was just about to say, you guys better not steal Foxworthy from me.
Man, you can't disrespect the Blue Collar Comedy Tour, though.
I will disrespect all four of those jokers.
That was such a thing.
Yeah, it was. Cool. It's my turn.
Yeah, it is your turn.
So I'm going to pick a comedian that really kind of blazed the trail for bringing, I don't want to say politics, like I'm not going to go Lenny Bruce or anything like that, but bringing like real issues into it, talking seriously and making it funny. And that's George Carlin, one of the greatest stand-up comedians of all time. I mean, the 7 dirty words you can't say on television is, of course, classic, but the stuff that he did in the 90s talking about, I don't want to get too much into it. I'll just say the politics of the day that's going on now is so far before its time. So, yeah, George Collin, pretty easy pick for me.
I love
Solid.
that pick, Joey.
Solid.
I'd be curious. Jake out here said, I love you guys, but there are 2 glaring omissions that make me so sad right now. And I bet that was one of them. I bet George Carlin was one of the 2 guys Jake was talking about, if I had to guess. And
yeah, he wouldn't have made it past me, but I knew.
I knew Joey was going to take him. I'm going to be quiet.
And there he is. Jake said, "Thank you, Joey." And Dustin said, "Yes, I knew I was Team Joey for a reason."
Yeah, I'm picking all the old guys.
Jake said Carlin was one for sure, and
I bet I know the other one, Jake.
Yeah, and I'm fearful that Tim knows the other one too, because I think it's who I want with my next pick.
Yeah, I think I know. I think I know who I probably should pick. I think there are a couple of guys that I probably should pick, but I'm gonna go with my heart here, and I'm gonna take a little guy we know as Mitch Hedberg.
No, stinky man. That's who I was gonna take.
Yes, is that who you guys thought I was going with Dimitri?
Yeah,
Martin?
that's who I thought.
That's what I thought you were wrong.
No, I like Dimitri Martin more than Mitch Hedberg, but I respect the game.
Gosh, the deadpan straight to the
So
face is just it's just
Unreal.
electric. Like I loved that's beyond sarcastic. That's just absolutely brilliant, and I'm very happy with how this team is being built out.
I love that pick. My favorite Mitch Hedberg joke is he talks about participating in McDonald's and said if he had one, it would be no. We've only got spaghetti and blankets. I didn't deliver it anywhere near Mitch Hedberg, but yeah, spaghetti and blankets.
Just a lot of people can make me laugh with a story. And that's not to say there's not expert storytellers. That's not to say there's not storytellers who are far and above their craft. I can think of 4 people that can make me laugh consistently with 10 words or less. Right? Like Mitch Hedberg and Dimitri Martin. That's part of the reason I love those guys so much, is the way that they can create comedy in 8 words is just unbelievable, man.
It's just an absolute upside down way of thinking, and we need more of that, I think.
The way that Mitch Hedberg studied vocabulary is just phenomenal.
Scamper said, "At least I have respect for 2 of you still."
Escalator. Temporarily stairs.
That is a great bit. For some reason, the Sesame one always sends me into orbit, where he talks about them being adhesive on one side. Like either someone's got sesame seed glue or those things are adhesive on one side. Who looks at a bun and thinks about that? It is my draft pick now, and I like Dimitri Martin and Mitch Hedberg were my plan for this turn. Okay, like that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna go Mitch Hedberg, Dimitri Martin. That was gonna be my turn. I was gonna be happy, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's totally okay. It's completely okay. I'm not even worried about it. I'm gonna go with someone who, well, not quite Mitch Hedberg. I think Mitch Hedberg would love, because she captures the absurdist style of comedy so very well, better than any modern comic that I can think of, where like she will I've watched her just push a stool around a stage for 5 minutes. In like one of her more recent specials, she just had a double mastectomy and she did the entire special shirtless, like Bert Kreischer. I'm taking Tig Notaro here.
Yeah, nice pick.
He's
great pick.
One of the best modern day comedians, and I've just, the more I watch her, the more I love her comedy style.
I was hoping she was going to slide.
Like sometimes you just watch and you're like, what is happening? But then she mixes like the absurdism of her comedy with like very like real and vulnerable aspects of herself. It's bizarre. I can't say I've watched too many comics that do things like Tig Notaro does.
Go, Joey.
Sorry. Have you heard the set that she did right after she was diagnosed with cancer? Like she was diagnosed and went to, I don't know if it was the Comedy Cellar or the Improv in LA, but she went and did a set right afterwards. It's amazing. Which one was that? Was that Happy to Be Here? I've only heard like they might have made a special out of it. I remember, I don't know if we should mention his name, Louis C.K. Put it out there after the set. He released it like on his website, and it was kind of floated around.
Is it like it's when someone's canceled, they become Voldemort?
I don't know.
I don't know if I can say it too loudly.
Here's the answer. You say Louis C.K. That dick, and then you keep going with the rest of your sentence.
That's the thing about a lot of these comics. It's like oh man, should I talk about this person because of XYZ that happened later on? But I don't think anybody like putting pops that much anyway. So
let's see. I've got my next. I've got my next vote here. It's not a vote. It's a pick. I am full on panicking. We've got a lot of modern comedians. We've got a lot of comedians. We've got a lot of modern comedians on this list.
It's a pretty good mix.
To go classic with my team. I'm going to take arguably the greatest stand-up comedian of all time, Richard Pryor.
Good pick.
I'll add Richard Pryor to my team.
Yep.
If he's going to slip to the third round, I love Richard Pryor. I have not appreciated him probably as much as I should, just because it's less in front of me. But they've been putting his specials on Netflix, re-releasing his sets, so I've gotten more exposure to them over the last couple of years. And the way he inspired modern stand-up comedy, he deserves to be taken probably a lot earlier than he was right here.
Yeah, no, I was debating 100%. Between Pryor and Carlin. I didn't know. I figured one wouldn't make it back to me. So
yeah.
And there goes Jake. I think his other one that was the glaring omission was just taken in Richard Pryor, which means, Tim, we're back to you. Your team of, God, that's a sexy team. Robin Williams and Mitch Hedberg so far. Who's the third that you're going to be adding there?
So I'm trying to I'm playing the game of how far do I think these people are going to slide, because there's some that I really want to take right now, but I think my next pick will probably slide a little bit further than I think he should. So with that, I'm going to bring it back a little bit modern now to one of the giants in the industry.
Do it, Tim.
Big fan of Big Mouth, big fan of all that kind of stuff. John Mulaney is my pick. I've seen him twice. Absolute blast. He does this fun little thing in the shows that you go to. If somebody ever gets up to go to the bathroom, he like hushes the crowd and say, okay, that person left. They're in the bathroom. They can't hear us. At some point, I'm going to say, well, that's what we do in Chicago. And you're going to say, we love donuts, all of you. And then the person comes back and he stares at them and he says, well, that's what they do in Chicago. And then the whole crowd did it. And it's just absolutely electric. So big fan of John Mulaney.
I thought about taking the Simon approach to this because I knew that you were going to go John Mulaney, Tim, just knowing that you love him. Mm-hmm. I thought about him in the first round, but I couldn't pass up my two guys.
Yep, fair enough.
Tim has been watching John Mulaney on repeat since I met him freshman year of college, and I'm sure it was before that.
Almost the whole Salt and Pepper Diner is one of my favorite stories on the planet. Oh man,
I think my pussycat. My favorite joke by him ever is the ooh, ducklings, the too old to be a duckling, quack quack. Do you remember that one? Just the old, like when we were talking about Hedberg and Demetri Martin being experts of like short form jokes. I think John Mulaney's he's the pro of telling stories.
Mm-hmm. And I grabbed a story form. And my buddy grabbed a 40. That man is now a father now. He grabbed a 40 and he slams it on the ground and he said, "Scare!"
The way he shapes them, incredible. Yeah. Also, Herm's down here saying, I caught Mulaney in Baltimore on his last tour and prep for the upcoming special.
I'm so excited.
Brilliant.
Nice. If he comes to Atlanta, one of my buddies saw him for this new leg. It's supposed to be absolutely incredible because this is after he went full on nightmare or disaster in his personal life. So it's gonna be pretty funny.
Be interesting
for us.
Yeah.
It's a different. He's no longer all of his other specials has been as John Mulaney, the wife guy.
Yeah.
Like his image has always been very much like a wife guy. Like he's the wife guy, and now he's kind of shattered the wife guy image. I'm curious to see what this new special is going to be like.
And I was like, so I'm a dad now.
Two things about Mulaney. I think he handled I don't like when Trump's such low hanging fruit to make fun of, but I think Mulaney with the horse in the hospital is the best like Trump joke that I've heard, like his whole thing on that. And then Mulaney's Oh Hello on Netflix. I keep talking about it. It is the funniest thing I've seen in the last 5 years. It's brilliant with him and Nick Kroll. So
we got Mauricio in here. What's up, Mauricio?
Mauricio. Mi amigo.
And Mauricio saying, I have no idea who those comedians are, but it doesn't matter. Here I am.
Here I am.
Mauricio, I say that every day. I have no idea who you're talking about, but here I am. Well, Tim just drafted John Mulaney, which means Joey, you are back on the clock.
Tim has sniped me twice on the first and the third round pick. Both times, those were my guys I was going to take. So great job, Tim.
Before you go, Joey, Jake does have a suggestion for you. So these comedians are all great, but are any of them better than Carrot Top? So Jake, like he's given up on Gallagher, but if maybe Carrot Top makes the list,
take Carrot Top for my 4th and 5th round.
You take Carrot in 4 and Top in 5.
Yeah.
So I mentioned like that, how George Carlin kind of mastered that ability to talk about current day times and make it funny in a way while making it real. I'll take the guy that does that better than anyone today, and he's a little canceled, I think, still.
I already got Trevor Noah.
Yeah.
No. What?
I said I already got Trevor Noah.
No, I said Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle. No, Dave Chappelle's one of the all-time greats. The Chappelle Show is one of the greatest comedy shows of all time.
It is.
I have never seen Chappelle live, but I saw the co-writer of the Chappelle Show, Neil Brennan. And he had all sorts of stories of.
Don't you say his name, Simon. I might draft him next.
I mean, who?
Nothing is worse when you're just hoping someone falls to you and then someone somewhere brings them up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Also, Dustin said this is a 2-team race between Joey and Tim. I don't know. Herm seemed to be liking my Tig Notaro Richard Pryor turn. So I think Herm's might be on my side.
Dustin really making a case for himself to never be our objective judge on anything. Just arguing himself right out of a job. All right, I'm up next. And you guys have left me so many comedians. There are a lot of them, guys. There's so many comedians out there. But 2 of my favorite comedians are still on the board. I'm going to go on the turn here. I'm going first with Kevin Hart.
He was going to be one of my picks.
He was on my list of JL will draft him. So if I want him, go get him.
Yeah, if you haven't, if you're a fan of Kevin Hart and you haven't read his book or listened to him read his book, I highly suggest it. It's like getting a comedy special in your ears while you drive. It's fantastic. And his story is truly inspiring. He has put a massive amount of work into his craft, and I think he is at the top of the game. I don't see many comedians who operate the same way he does. So Kevin Hart is my first pick. And then for my second pick, I'm going with a classic. I think this will appeal to the old, this will appease the old fogies in the chat here and on the panel. I'm going with Jerry Seinfeld.
That's a good pick.
Jerry Seinfeld's fantastic at stand-up. I've watched him. I got the chance to watch him do a little stand-up during the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Bree and I went up and was in the audience many years ago and saw him and he was fantastic. So good.
He's one of the ones that I don't think his old stand-up has held up. Like I've watched Seinfeld's as much as he can, and
I don't even love Seinfeld the show that much.
I just find him kind of annoying. Like
okay.
He's very observational, and I think that's, if you say it in a funny voice, like anything can be funny. And that's what he does. Like he seems like the what's the deal with airplane food kind of guy, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
I feel like that's like the caricature of him, like from like Family Guy.
He's a pro of observational comedy, and what I have seen of just his pure stand-up, or I feel like the moments of Jerry Seinfeld where I've laughed the hardest have been him in social settings with other comedians.
Or in
like you place him or in vehicles. But like I've seen podcasts, arguably in a car with some coffee or something.
Yeah.
When I saw it, it was like right as he was launching that. It was like the first one had just come out.
But when he's like in a group of comedians, he seems to kind of thrive. He seems to take the spotlight where I didn't view him that way until I saw him with like some of the all-time greats recording a podcast, and he seemed to be the star.
Sounds like I could have waited on Jerry Seinfeld, so I'm pissed now.
I would have taken him.
Dustin saying if you swap JL's order, you have a solid team. Saying if you drafted Kevin Hart and Jerry Seinfeld,
team,
or just draft the other way.
Same exact team. You dingle?
Nope, it's different. Depends on where you got them. Yeah, well, look at the value, Dustin. Look at the value.
That sounds like something.
Herm said, who can do the best Seinfeld?
What's the deal? I don't know.
What's the deal? I don't know.
The immediate bail.
That's the new game show. Damn it, he should host a game show called What's the Deal?
What's the deal? We should. That's a great idea.
All right,
All right, Joe, you're up.
So I'm surprised we've all made it this far without any of us picking an actual cast member of probably the greatest American Comedic Institute. I'm going to take for his stand-up alone, Eddie Murphy.
Damn it!
Yeah, like I'm not gonna dog Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor is Dr. J. Like, I mean, set the stage for how that type of comedy should be done. And then Eddie Murphy came in, and Richard Pryor said, "Is Eddie's the only one that's ever done it better than me?" Now he could have just been complimenting him, but encourage a connecting Eddie Murphy Richard Pryor story. Bill Cosby called Eddie Murphy to tell him to stop using so much profanity. Go watch that clip to hear what Richard Pryor had to say, because I can't say any of those words. But it is hysterical.
Damn it.
Herm's in here with OMG Joey from the top rope, and Dustin said yes, Joey wins. They're digging the Eddie Murphy pick.
Joey, that is a certified snipe. He was my pick.
Maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, Maria and I watched one of his like specials from the 80s. I feel like it was on Netflix. It wasn't as good, but it was early on. He was like just starting out. Later Eddie Murphy, I'm all about though.
I grew up on The Adventures of Pluto Nash. I don't know if you've seen that movie, and I'm not going to argue it's his best work, because it's not, and it's not stand-up, but dear God almighty, did 10-year-old me think The Adventures of Pluto Nash was the funniest movie that had ever been made. Like, there was not a funnier movie than that. I freaking loved Eddie Murphy. Also, Victor said Joey is frozen. Joey Frozen is the best. And Dustin said Joey didn't freeze. He left because he just murdered the other 3 in this draft. He's got to leave before the cops get here.
They don't have cops in Florida.
That's pretty true.
All right. Well, Tim, you're up. You get the next vote.
Oh, man. There's so many good ones that I want this draft to go on for like 3 more rounds.
I know.
Because, God dang it.
Jake said someone still has the opportunity to steal my heart. One absolutely stud pick left. I don't know who it is. I think I know who it is, maybe.
I think I know as well, and it might be who I'm taking next.
So I think if I can't have Eddie Murphy, I'm going to take Chris Rock. I like his stuff, man. You bring him back into the Rush Hour franchise, and his stand-up is also absolutely solid. And he got slapped in the face of the Oscars for doing such a good job. So
for doing such a good job.
So
great job.
I'll take that, mostly because I think my heart has a pick that will still be available.
Okay, Chris Rock.
Whew, I like that
Eddie
pick.
Murphy stuff out.
Chris Rock was on my short list. And Tim, yeah, we hyped up your Eddie Murphy pick a little bit more, Joey. The chat is all about it.
Oh yeah,
they freaking love your pick. And Tim, Chris Rock was on my short list, and man, is my list getting very short over here now. And I'm
oh, Chris Tucker, you're right. I'm an idiot. Never mind.
I'm panicking. I'm panicking now, sitting here at the 4 or 5 turn, knowing that these are the last 2 people that get to go on my team. That after this, I'm just done. There's one I know for sure, so I'm just gonna get that person out of the way. And this is there was a comedian that was punk rock. It was Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks was out there just
nice.
I like that.
He said
that a lot.
Everything he said was F the man. He punched up with every joke, and he punched hard with every joke that he hit. He didn't hold back. And yeah, some of it still, you listen to it and you're like, whoa, like it makes you a little bit uncomfortable sometimes, but that was on purpose. And it's just unbelievable respect for like the message and his willingness to kind of punch it out there and his ability to do it in such a funny way. So I'm going to throw Bill Hicks on there. And then this is where I get really, really confused. I feel like because I went Richard Pryor and Bill Hicks there, I've kind of opened the door to doing whatever I want with this last pick. I've got 2 classics. I've got 2 more modern comedians. I can go whichever direction I want.
Whoa.
Joan Rivers?
You could pick yourself.
There's two comedians that I'm going back and forth between over and over and over again. One is pure chaos energy, and one I'm going with the chaos. Put Eric Andre on my team. What Eric Andre does is chaotic and incredible and unique and so much fun to watch. When I saw him live, he brought two people up on stage to have a ranch chugging contest. Then he left the winner up there, gave them the microphone, and forced them to freestyle rap. Then he stripped butt naked behind them, stuck his dick and balls between his legs and squeezed it tight, and then started doing like hip gyrations behind the person. And then after they get off stage, you think you're safe. He finishes his set naked with everything tucked, and then he turns around and bows. And that was the end of Eric Andre's set. The last thing you saw was everything tucked between and a full-on bow. He grabbed someone's phone from the crowd and FaceTimed their mom on the projector during his set. Just found mom in their phone and FaceTimed them. I have a affinity for the absurd, and Eric Andre does absurd very well. So that's where my fifth pick's going to go.
Eric Andre. I like it. He was on my list, Simon, and I thought it was purely there so that I could maybe make you and Tim mad.
No, it's a fun pick. I like it. I wasn't going to take him, but it's a fun pick.
Dixon, I would like to unhear everything that was just said. The best part about that story was my girlfriend and I were going to see that stand-up, and she said, "Hey, can my friend come?" And I was like, "Probably shouldn't.
No.
But she's more than welcome."
Probably shouldn't.
And her friend came with us and left, and I
What'd
think
you
that
think?
friend looks really different now that I proposed that event.
Wow, Simon's got great taste.
We haven't spoken since.
You and Eric Andre?
Me and Eric Andre. Yeah. Tim, you've got Robin Williams, Mitch Hedberg, John Mulaney, and Chris Rock.
And Drew Carey, maybe?
Who are you taking for your fifth pick?
There's so many good. I can't believe Amy Schumer's still on the board. Just kidding.
Shout out Towson.
God.
Bill Engvall, your favorite guy. Janine Garofalo kind of sounds like it's spelled the same as my name.
Damn it. I'm gonna go with my heart here. I keep seeing clips of this guy come up, and R.I.P. to Mr. Norm Macdonald. Some of the best long just screw you jokes that ever exist. He just wastes your time, and it's magnificent. The story of the moth is just absolutely fantastic. It's just he's an icon. I love him. I was thinking of a couple other people there, but I got to give him a spot. Got to give him a spot on the roster.
I think he's what a bunch of edgelord comedians wish they were. They like people hear his comedy and misunderstand that like offensive is funny. No, Norm Macdonald made offensive jokes with a punchline. Know what I mean? There was humor in comedy, and it was directed in a specific way. And people see that kind of comedy and assume, oh, it's just funny because it's offensive. He's good at what he does.
Yeah.
And it's a hard craft to do properly.
Yeah, gosh, that is a fine line.
I thought Norm Macdonald. That's who I thought that Jake was thinking of, because I just feel like his reputation is like it's just higher than most other comedians. It feels like he's revered.
He's a comedian's comedian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dustin in here said, yes, it's about time Norm got taken. Herm said, I know who Jake is thinking of probably, and he's very likely fuming right now. So there's two picks left. I guess it wasn't Eric Andre that Jake was thinking of.
Gabriel.
Yeah, so I'm going 100% personal on this pick. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to go with Ricky Gervais.
He was one of the other ones I was looking at.
Yeah, his stand-up specials, pretty easy to find now. They used to be kind of tough to get. Are some of the best commentaries on like religion and science that you'll find. Absolutely hysterical. And he created The Office. But that doesn't count towards his stand-up career. But Ricky Gervais, and he's really, really good looking because people say I look like him. So.
It's funny that you said that because the next sentence out of my mouth was going to be I've never watched a full special because I have difficulty looking at his face for very long.
Stream with me 5 hours a week. So,
maybe that's why I can't look at his face.
Yeah, maybe there's something there.
Yeah. I know it's not stand up, but
it doesn't have
his
to be
opening
stand-up, by the way.
monologues.
This is just comedian.
Oh, is it just comedians?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'm gonna change all my picks.
Can we start over?
You can just do stand-up too. It's fine.
Oh, it's just comedians. Oh man, that's fine. I still like my team.
It sounded like you had something else to say about Ricky Gervais before you got disappointed.
No, I'm good.
That's it. Well, JL, you got the last pick of this draft here. Then hopefully you weren't going to take Ricky Gervais because you've been sniped if you were.
I wasn't going to take Ricky Gervais. I like him, but I don't love him. I don't know what to do here. There's a lot of people who I feel like I should go with. I'm gonna go with Hassan Minhaj. He's probably not going to get a vote getter, and I think some may say he's too similar to Trevor Noah to put on your team. But if you've watched his stand-up specials, the complexity by which he like weaves together the stories he's telling is wild. He's very, very good at like orchestrating the experience of the special. And yeah, I love him. So let's go Hassan.
And he's a very physical comedian, which I like as well. Know what I mean? Like when you watch him, it's
always moving.
Exactly. It's physically exciting to watch Hassan Minhaj. And it makes like for a storytelling comedian as well, I feel like that's so important.
Yeah.
That's yeah, he's a good one. I like him.
And also, Jake said, I'm mad on Bill Burr's behalf. Yeah, I know like him, like Nate Bargatze, I thought was gonna get a lot of chatter from the chat. I know those are fake, like people really like those guys. Not my cup of tea as much.
I like Bill Burr more in a podcast setting than I do in a like I like listening to that dude talk and hearing his thoughts on things more than I like his comedy. But that's not to say he's one of the greatest alive right now. I know that maybe it's just not my favorite.
It's a tough list. There are a lot of funny people.
Since it's not stand-up comedians, can I shout to SNL people?
No, sorry. Show's over. I'm just kidding, of course, Joe.
Gilda Radner. Is my favorite SNL cast member of all time. She made me laugh harder than anyone else. But Bill Hader is probably the best person off SNL the last 20 years. Like just absolutely hysterical in everything he does. Anything he does is perfect.
On my list that I didn't draft is an SNL cast member who does stand up, but I didn't draft him because I don't think that's why I love him the most, and that's Fred Armisen. Fred Armisen's stand-up is great. His stand-up for drummers is so like so if we were drafting stand-up specials, stand-up for drummers might have been one of my specials drafted just because like it's so stupidly specific and it's so funny. But I didn't draft him because I think I love him more for like his like improv and sketch writing than I do for his stand-up.
Tim, have you seen Fred Armisen DJing by your house anytime recently?
No, not recently, but it was weird. It was super weird because it's just in a cargo crate underneath a bridge. And I walked by and I was like, what the hell is this? Somebody's playing like a bunch of weird noises. And it was literally just Fred Armisen in like underneath the bridge right over there. He's completing side quests. Like, what the
hell? The bridge on the Beltline over there?
Yeah, literally right before the skate park. There's just a bunch of shipping
bizarre.
Containers, and one of them is a DJ booth apparently. And he was just DJing. Yeah, there was like a bunch of people like trying to dance, but no, that was way too much rhythm, Simon. There was nothing like that.
Look up
goddamn noises.
That's incredible. Also, Jake, and you're saying, why didn't your completely subjective opinions match mine exactly? Yeah, honestly, that's absurd of us.
That's
absolutely absurd.
I think Tim won.
Herms with the most glaring omission saying, I'm just upset no one drafted Herms, TBH. Yeah, honestly, a pretty big glaring omission. We're going to put these teams up on Twitter for you guys to vote on. Run through them one more time before we head out of here. I drafted Bo Burnham, Tig Notaro, Richard Pryor, Bill Hicks, and Eric Andre.
What a weird group.
Tim drafted, it is a weird group. Tim drafted Robin Williams, Mitch Hedberg, John Mulaney, Chris Rock, and Norm Macdonald. Joey drafted Don Rickles, George Carlin, Dave Chappelle, Eddie Murphy, and Ricky Gervais. And JL drafted Trevor Noah, Dimitri Martin, Kevin Hart, Jerry Seinfeld, and Hassan Minhaj. Those are our teams. I think we're all like happy with our teams in here. We'll see how you guys vote. JL, I think we're screwed, but I'm curious to see how the results pan out.
It's fine. I'll be screwed with my favorite comedians.
100%. Me too. Well, guys, that's going to be it for us today. Before we head out of here, a couple reminders. First and foremost, if you enjoyed what we did here today, I got some fantastic news. We are here every single weekday, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the Front Yard Fantasy YouTube channel, or you can catch us at bettersports.com as well. And right here on bettersports.com, coming up a little bit later today at 7 p.m. Eastern time, you can get your college football fix with Campus to Canton. Felix Sharp and Colin Decker are going to preview this year's NFL rookie class and give you some of their predictions for this upcoming NFL draft. It's less than a week away, so make sure you don't miss out on our college ball experts talking college ball here on Better Sports Network.
Let's go.
John Luke, any final tips for aspiring comedians out there before we head out?
Mamma mia.
Tim, anything you'd like to add to that?
It's a pizza.
And Joey, last tips you have for any aspiring stand-ups out there?
Happy birthday, Mom.
Hey!
Happy birthday, Mom. That's going to be it for us today, guys. Jake says, love you guys. Well, we love you too, Jake, and we love everybody else in the chat as well. Have a great weekend, and we will see everybody bright and early afternoon on Monday. Adios, everyone.
Hasta lunes.